Are you thinking about getting your real estate license in New Hampshire, but you just don't know where to start? Well, in this video, I'm going to take you through a complete step-by-step guide so you know exactly how to get started and get your license. My name's Chris. I've been a licensed real estate agent for the past 10 years. I'm also a team leader and real estate coach that's been able to help hundreds of people get started and get their license. Before we dive into the video, make sure to grab my complete real estate license startup kit. Down in the description below, you're going to be able to download that guide. Everything in this video, plus a lot more is inside, so make sure to grab it. It's completely free to download, and I think you'll get a lot of value from it. Also, down in that description box below, you're going to find a link to the CE Shop. They're the school in New Hampshire that I recommend, and they offer flexible classes, and they have really good prices. So if you want to check them out, there is an affiliate link down below for state-approved pre-licensed education classes, and with that affiliate link, you'll be able to access different special discounts and sales. So the very first step to getting your New Hampshire real estate license is meeting some of the basic requirements. In New Hampshire, you have to be 18 years old or older, and you must have a high school diploma or a GED. Another requirement is you must be a US citizen or legally otherwise be able to work in the US. One of the other requirements I wanted to talk to you about is the background check. In New Hampshire, you're required to get a background check before you can get your real estate license. Now, if you have something on your record like a felony, make sure to reach out to the Real Estate Commission ahead of time and ask them if it's going to impact you on whether you can get your real estate license or not before you start this process. But if there's nothing on your record that you think will come up, then you should be good to take the next step. Step number 2 is completing the real estate pre-license education. In New Hampshire, you're required to complete 40 hours of state-approved classes. Now, I know 40 hours sounds like a ton of time to invest, and it can be, especially if you have a 9-to-5 job or just a busy life in general. The good news is you can do these classes in person or online. I actually suggest the online approach because they're more flexible and a lot more convenient if you have a lot of other things going on. And you avoid all that back and forth drive time. In these classes, you're going to learn a ton of great things. You're going to learn real estate math, real estate finance, real estate law. These are all things you're going to need to pass your real estate exam. But beyond that, it's a lot of valuable knowledge that you're going to take that you can use throughout your entire career and your entire life. Before I got started in real estate, I was in finance and I thought I knew quite a bit about real estate. But after taking these classes, I realized that there was so much more to learn. That's the good thing about the classes is not only do you need to complete it to get your license, but you're going to take away a lot of useful information that you can keep your entire life. Once you complete your pre-licensed education classes, it's time to move on to the next step, which is scheduling and passing your real estate exam. In New Hampshire, the exams are held by PSI Exams, and you can go on their website or give them a call to schedule. You want to make sure to give them at least 24 hours notice in advance. And on test day, you're going to want to bring a couple basic things to the testing center. The first thing is a basic non-scientific calculator for the math portion of the exam. You're really going to want to bring that for when you get to those math questions, and it can really give you that confidence you need to power through that part of the exam. The next thing is the identification. So you're going to want to bring 2 forms of identification. One could be your driver's license, passport, debit card, credit card. Just make sure that you bring 2 separate forms. Now you're probably wondering what the exam is actually like. Well, when you walk in on test day, you're going to be met with a bunch of multiple choice questions. Now, you might think that sounds easy, and a lot of people think that when they first get into the exam, like, hey, this is going to be super easy to pass. But the reality is a lot of people fail the exam, and I want to give you a couple basic tips so you can prevent that from happening to you. The very first one is just don't rush through this exam. You have a lot of time to get this done. Most people finish early, so I recommend you read each question multiple times before you submit your final answer. And the reason you want to do this is because the exams are written in a way that can be a little bit tricky. Some of the answers look very similar to one another, and one can be wrong and the other can be right, and you might actually know the right thing, but because you're speeding through the exam, you're not actually taking the time to read it and digest. So make sure you read each question multiple times before you finally submit your answer. Now, the exam itself has 2 separate parts, and they're actually split in 2. So you have a state portion of the exam and a national portion of the exam. You need to get a 70% score or higher on each one of these exams. Now, the good news is if you pass one and fail the other, you only have to come back and retake the part that you failed. Now, if you fail both, you do have to come back and retake both, but let's be positive and hope you pass both. Now, you're going to find out right away if you passed or failed the exam. Now, if you did fail the exam, don't get discouraged and quit. So many people do that and then they just never end up getting their real estate license. The good news is it has no correlation to whether you're going to be a good agent or a bad agent. So many people think just because they failed that they're going to end up being a bad real estate agent and fail out of the career altogether. So why bother going through this process and giving it another try. But the truth couldn't be further from that. I know so many successful agents that failed this exam, and some even failed the exam multiple times before they ever passed. And they went on to be super successful agents. So it doesn't mean that you're gonna be a bad real estate agent. It just means you need to study a little bit harder and give it another shot. The next step is completing your fingerprinting and background check. So before you can actually apply for your license, you have to go through this process and get your fingerprinting and background check done. This is done through the New Hampshire State Police Department. After that, we want to move on to the next step, which is applying for your real estate license. This is done through the New Hampshire Real Estate Commission. Now, what we're going to do on this step is we're going to get our application, and then we're going to get everything we've done up until this point. So we're going to get our completed pre-licensed education classes that are state approved. We're going to get our background check and our passing score to our real estate exam. We're going to package that all together and then send it out with our license application. And that takes us to step number 6, which is choosing your sponsoring broker. After you get licensed, you have to hang your license with a sponsoring broker, and this is going to be your very first real estate mentor. So it's important to pick the first right brokerage and make sure you line yourself up for success. Because if you do this wrong, you could set yourself way back, or worst case scenario, you might not get the support you need and you might fail out of the industry. So I want to give you a couple important questions to ask when you start this process. The very first question to ask is, what kind of mentorship and trainings do you offer for brand new agents? The very first part of that question is the mentorship piece. Now, when I first got started in this business, I was running around, I was showing houses, I was excited, and I got to a point where I was ready to make an offer. And at that point, I really wanted a real estate mentor to be able to help me write that offer, to give me the support, and give me that confidence that I needed to guide my clients in the right direction. So this is gonna be you when you get started. You're gonna want to have a mentor that you can call at any time to jump in and help you fill out forms and paperwork and guide your clients in the right direction so that you always feel confident that you're doing the right thing. So make sure you ask the question if they're going to give you access to a real estate mentor. The second part of that question is the trainings. As a brand new agent, you're going to want to pick a brokerage that has trainings in place for brand new agents. Now, if you pick a brokerage that has just generic trainings, that can be okay, but you're going to be in a room with a bunch of agents that have been in the business for a long time. For example, some of the classes that I take as a team leader might not be applicable to you as somebody that's just trying to get your business off the ground. So find a class and find a training schedule or module within the brokerage that is for brand new real estate agents that's going to help you build your business and get it off the ground. The next question is about marketing. Did you know that 87% of people fail out of this industry? And it's not because they don't like it most of the time. It's because they just can't figure out how to get clients and make it full-time income on a regular basis. And this comes down to marketing. So you want to ask your broker that you're interviewing with what they're going to do to help you market and grow your business. This question is extremely important. Now, if you want to take it one step further and you want to ask questions about the real estate leads, some teams offer leads. These are potential buyers and sellers that come into your database that you could reach out to and call and try to work with as customers. So if you want to go down that route, make sure to ask the question if the brokers that you're going to be with has any teams or if they have a lead generation program that you can become a part of. And the last set of questions to ask is about the monthly fees and the commission splits. Now, the first part of this question is super important because these monthly fees will come out of your account whether you're selling real estate or you're not, and it can get expensive pretty quick. Some brokerages have no monthly fees, and these can be great for brand new agents. Other brokerages have a small monthly fee, which isn't too bad, but I would still try to avoid it if you're brand new. And others have a monthly fee that can be quite expensive, up to a couple $100s per month I've seen. So make sure you ask this question up front and see if there are any monthly fees that are associated with being a part of that brokerage. Now, the next thing to ask is about the commission splits. But before I go into commission splits, I do want to make a very important point. Look at the commission splits that you're paying as a mentorship fee. I would much rather see you go to a brokerage that has lower commission splits and you might make a little bit less per sale, but you're getting the support, training, and mentorship you need to grow your business so you become successful. That's much better than going to a brokerage that takes a very little, but doesn't do much for you. Because this business can be hard to get off the ground, and if you don't have the right support and mentorship, it can be really tough. Now, to get down to the bottom of that, you want to ask a very basic question. And this is, if I was to make a $10,000 commission check, how much of that money do I actually get to take home? This will cut through all the noise, and you'll get to find out what the actual splits are after all the fees, after all the royalties, and things that come about when you're interviewing with brokers. Now that you have all the steps to get your New Hampshire real estate license, I want to cover some of the most common questions I get on a regular basis. because I'm sure you have some questions. The first question is, how much does it actually cost to get your New Hampshire real estate license? Well, it really depends on what route you go, what brokerage you pick, if you decide to upgrade to any real estate exam tools, and if you catch any sales or discounts on real estate license classes. But all overall, I would estimate anywhere between $500 and $1,000 to get started, which, considering the potential upside that this career has, it's a very low startup cost. The next question is, how long does it take to get your real estate license? Well, I would estimate anywhere between 6 to 12 weeks, depending on how motivated you are, how dedicated, and how disciplined. You only have about 40 hours to complete in New Hampshire, which is really good. And if you take one of the self-paced options, you can get through this pretty quickly. The next question I get is the real estate exam hard? Yes, the exam can be hard. A lot of people do fail the exam the first time. I remember back when I was going through this process, I was just reading through textbooks and I was just getting super aggravated because I wasn't retaining the information I needed. And I felt like I was going to go take the exam and fail. So eventually I just started searching, like, how do you pass your exam? How do you do this? How do you do that? And eventually I came across exam prep tools. These are like study tools that help you pass the exam. And they put you through tests like simulations, and they quiz you and they tell you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. And once I found these, it was a total game changer. It helped me build my confidence to actually pass the real estate exam. So I definitely recommend you check out exam prep tools. They will give you that confidence you need on test day. So if you want to check them out, there is a affiliate link down below to CompuCram where you can check out their tool and see if it's a good fit for you. I think it will definitely help you boost your confidence before test day. And the last question I get is, can you do this part-time? The good news is you absolutely can do it part-time. I know so many agents that start out part-time, they do a couple of deals per year, they make an extra income, and then eventually, if they really love it, they go full-time and they build a really nice business. Or sometimes people just stay part-time because they wanted extra income, and it's totally fine. The good news is, whatever way you want to build this, you can totally do it. If you want to be a high earning real estate agent, as long as you do the work and you spend the time to do it, you can do that as well. But one of the best things that I love about real estate is you get to design it the way you want to design it. Because at the end of the day, you're self-employed, you get to make your own hours, and you can build the kind of business that you want to build. If you liked this video and it was helpful, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. We have more content coming out about getting your license and starting your career. Thanks for tuning in.